As you look around the room at the size of this event, the variety and the quality of the people who are here, you can't help but think of the incredible growth of the Rural Clinical School over these 20 years. In that time, it's grown from 7 pilot students across 4 sites in 2002 to next year welcoming 112 penultimate year students across 15 sites, welcoming Collie to the group, as well as 20 final year students across 4 sites. So in total, 1,518 students have called the RCS home, well and truly shaping the future of rural and remote healthcare across our state.
But for me as a young man, I find solace in knowing that the path that my old people walked, as they walked up there and they walked back and they walked up there and they walked back, it worked. The culture, it worked. That Mundanga Karajam Bidi path, that path, it's a path that we know how to walk. And we stand here after all of those atrocities, with forgiveness in our heart, with love in our heart, with our arms open, saying we're here, we're still here, and we want you to walk with us. So why you not king need to go but I wajak nyunga buja. Double kern cooling need to buja. Yar cool nija mundanga karajin bidi. Gopo cooling.
And I always say to my Perth colleagues, people in the country, we don't expect every single medical specialty on our doorstep, particularly if we live in a small community, but we want equity of access. So it's really important that we can find those specialist services we need, even if we have to travel to a larger regional centre rather than travelling to Perth. So I thank you for the work you do.
The RCS program started with a simple idea. The way to attract medical students to rural medicine was to give them a long clinical clerkship in a rural setting, experiencing medicine as it happens in the bush. This simple idea, which now seems obvious, was not readily accepted at first. The idea that students might learn something useful in a small country hospital was a heresy for some. For those sceptics, the wisdom and the knowledge of modern medicine resided in large urban hospitals. It was not possible to study medicine anywhere else. We now know that this is not true. You can study medicine in the bush. You will pass your exams, and you may even win some of the prizes your urban peers are striving for. You will probably be better prepared for your work when you graduate, and if you choose rural medicine on graduation, you will have a meaningful career, as rich and as stimulating as you could hope for anywhere.
I'm particularly delighted that this school is placing more emphasis in attracting Indigenous students. As a university, I'm pretty sure I speak for other partners in this venture. We all want to do that because that is needed, that is the right thing to do. So it is an honor for us to host this school. It is an honor for us to be able to provide whatever support we can as the University of Western Australia. And on behalf of UWA, I wish you many more anniversaries to celebrate and many more contributions to make to serve the people of Western Australia. Thank you very much.
Nganang Dalarai Morrison, ngang Bibelmanyok, ngang Goreng Warandi, Menang Williman, Nita Yamadi, Bibelmanyok. Did you get all that? Well, they understand that now.
wonderful thing is that the people I had most difficulty with in the faculty in Perth, and had the kind of, a lot of time persuading that this is okay. People were saying things about, there was this great new disease category arose, which was things that cannot be taught outside of Perth. And when I said, well, what, can you give me an example of this? Somebody said, well, patients who die. And I sort of said, well, that's no problem there. We can arrange that. And there are lots of people who die in the rural area, unfortunately. So there was this kind of, there was a kind of rule came up. The people who opposed me most generally became my greatest supporters.
It was an interesting time because it was around 1999-2000 that, as the CEO of the Eastern Goldfields Medical Division of General Practice, we used to get Commonwealth Department of Health, initiatives that came out from the budget, and there was one about more doctors, better communities, and they talked about changes to GP training, but also they talked about developing these rural clinical schools that had to be located in regional centres. And I spoke to Phil as the chair of the division at the time and thought, well, we could do that in Kalgoorlie. We had a really, really enthusiastic group of doctors there that were fantastic, and it's really great that there's quite a few of them here tonight, which is fantastic.
I met Phil and Campbell in the first office of the Rural Clinical School, the Yelverton Hotel in Kalgoorlie, one Monday morning. And we had a good chat and a good laugh. We didn't even really know each other very well. Phil and I barely knew each other, but we did drink a lot of coffee. And we decided that we were going to go over to Barney's rooms because Barney had very kindly volunteered his rooms to be the real first office of the Rural Clinical School because we didn't have a base. So we went over there and Barney's dog was asleep in the waiting room. We heard the whole consultation that he was giving, and we looked at each other and we said, this is never going to work.
And we heard this voice from Barney saying, if you want to have another baby, your husband will have to come home from FIFO. Campbell said. So we said, this is never going to work. We cannot set up our office in Barney's office here. So I made some telephone calls of people that I knew, and it turned out that there was an empty video store near the hospital, a block or so away from the hospital, and I arranged to meet the owner of that property there. Well, we all met the owner of that property there, and Phil will tell you now about the string that we laid out on the floor. So has anyone heard about string theory? So we had this ex-video shop, and I said to Campbell, I know how we'll do this. We'll set the offices out, I'll get some string and we'll tape it all on the floor, and that'll be your office. It's a very big one, and mine will be a smaller, and Ron's will be bigger. And anyway, we set it all out, and the cleaner came in over the weekend and said, what's all this string, and ripped it all up. So anyway, the string was still there, so I went home and got 2 tin cans and we put the string between us, and we had a telephone between my office and Campbell's office. Hello, Campbell, are you there? Anyway, it was all a lot of fun, and so then the next thing was we decided we'd better talk to some doctors in Kalgoorlie about whether we could teach the curriculum. So I went to Barney's place and sat under the grapevine, and there were various people there.
Can you tell us about how you two became 2 of the 3 pilot students in Kalgoorlie?
Well, it was your idea, actually. Yeah. Kev rounded myself and Kate up and said, I think we should go and, be the pioneers out in Kalgoorlie. Yeah, no, it was definitely you. So out we went. And, stayed in the Blue House. Lots of memories. There was lots of people that stayed in the Blue House over the years. I think you too, Russ, had a stint in the Blue House.
We tried to burn it down, basically. Rhonda didn't like us that much for most of the year.
You had some problems with the football marks on the ceiling.
Holes in walls. Anyway.
But it was very convenient because
Moved
it's
on.
literally over the road from the hospital, so we did get to pop over and deliver lots of babies.
I've got no doubt my interest and involvement was the time I spent in Kalgoorlie. So I'm one of the people that was in the 50%, I think they referred to, that ended up doing a bit more rural than you would have done otherwise. I went back out to Kalgoorlie a couple more years after our 5th year, and then I ended up doing some time as a resident over in Queensland in Mossman, working up there for a little while. But then probably my most recent thing I've been involved in, I was pretty heavily involved in writing in the curriculum working group for the GP anaesthetic diploma that's just come out. And, you know, essentially, even if everyone doesn't end up full-time rural, I was almost a little spy for you guys in there, flying the flag, because obviously sometimes the GP anaesthetists cop a bit of a battering from the city anaesthetists. So yeah, I think it's had a huge impact on my career. It's been pretty amazing coming back here tonight.
Donald and the dog in the landy, swanning up to Cal, walked in to the building, to the headquarters, and he popped in to say hello to Sally, and Rusty, the dog, followed him in to Sally's room and promptly bit Sally on the leg for no apparent reason. Now, you see, because Rusty's Donald's dog, it's a dingo. And Sally got a really nasty bite. It would have been hurt like hell. And all hell broke loose, kind of. But Sal's a trooper and didn't want any fuss and had a very excellent Dr. Howarth who patched her up, and Sally was sent home to put a leg up, and Rusty was dispatched to the landy to have a good think about himself. The good news was that firstly, my report was accepted and filed, never to be seen again, of course. Rusty wasn't shot, and Sally didn't die, which was really decent of her, because think of the paperwork.
When we were preparing for this evening, we said, well, we really need to get all the original staff members together. Let's make a list. Who's still working for us? And here it is. Rhonda is the one person in this school that I think has had something to do with every single staff member and every single student. And that's amazing. And I apologise to Rhonda because she hates being up here for this, so she'll probably get back at me later. But we just wanted to acknowledge what she means to us. So we've got a small gift for her and thank her for everything she's done for the 20 years and wish you all the best going forward, because you're not leaving us yet.
Thank you very much. And you're right, I don't like being up here, but it has been a fantastic journey and I'm not ready to go yet. I've got a little bit of time left.
Awesome. Thank you. You can go now.
Thank you.
Oh, RCS means a lot to me. RCS means an absolutely amazing year on placement where I get to work with the most amazing doctors and grow so much as a medical student and really improve my skills in a way that I never would have been able to do in Metro. Something, you know, this professional development experience has been really great, and also being able to work in the country and live in the country and get a taste of life that's so different to what you get in the city, and a life that I never would have considered if I hadn't have gone on RCS.
The RCS has been a part of my life for the last 16 years. I started as an MC there in Bunbury when the Rural Clinical School first started there, and for me it's become like family. It's been amazing to see students grow and become junior doctors and then more senior doctors, and to be able to stay in rural and regional areas to fulfil their dreams of what they want to be able to do with their work and social and family life, but also to see how that they've grown both professionally and personally in that space while working with a fantastic bunch of people.
This school, I'm so honoured and privileged to be a part, and I thank everyone, you know, for this opportunity. This school to me is, in my time, I've seen students come through, but more so, I've seen the graduates of the school that have become doctors and have come back out into the country. And for me, one of the highlights is Dr. Siobhan, that's in Brahms, and there's others out there as well. Tonight at the 20th anniversary, to see the choir sing in the Noongar, the Wajak Noongar Puja language was absolutely amazing. To me, that symbolises true reconciliation. I look back to the history, you know, and reflect on how it used to be, but today I get to be a part of change and witness that, and to hear the language is to me as an Aboriginal person is healing. Healing in the setting that we are, but healing for everyone, the individual, the families and the communities.
For everyone that's not here, I'm really sorry because you're missing out, but we'd really love to see you in the next one that we have, whenever that's going to be. It's just really great seeing faces and friends that I haven't seen for years and years and years, so it's wonderful to get together.